Hi, it's Miriam, and I'm glad you're joining me to release feet, calves, work on short foot to strengthen the arch, and work on toga for the mobility and strength of the big toe and the balance created by the other four toes. Make sure you have some sort of ball as a tool, whether it be a pinky ball, lacrosse ball, which is a little more challenging, whatever you choose. Let's talk about feet for just a moment. The feet are the foundation of our movement, of our gait. They provide a foundation for our standing position. And for many of us, we've been in shoes for just a little bit too long, and shoes start to form just like a cast. Or if you can even just imagine if you wore oven mitts on your hands all day long, what your hands would not be able to do in dexterity. So the feet are really no different. We have a big toe, the great toe, which is designed to be a part of our push-off, a very important part of the push-off in our gait cycle when we walk. So if our toe doesn't have the range of motion that it needs, then we're unable to walk properly just from that perspective. So something we can do to improve the range of motion of the big toe is to pull it and then just bring it up into flexion. Something you can do while you're watching your favorite show or you're listening to a podcast, right? Play with your feet. So you pull the guy up, you bring him up. Eventually you want to see, can he stay up and be strong in that position? See if you can hold it up. Eventually you will be able to. Anything that we continue to practice, we're going to get better at, right? We're creating neural patterns. When you can lift the whole toe up by itself and just leave it there for a while, then you know you've come a long way. And you can put them down and then start to lift the other toes and then bring the other toes down. You can do the wave, spread the toes out, pull all the toes up, bring them down individually. Not so good on second and third. I'll practice that. And bring the big toe down. To separate them out, I'm a huge believer in toe separators. It's passive. The yoga body toes that come in the little box, I think they're like $20. Not expensive, and they come with two pairs. One pair that you can use to start off, and then you can gradually go to the next pair, so it's not quite so uncomfortable if you haven't been doing that. If you don't have toe separators, you have toe separators. You've got fingers, and you can bring your fingers in between your toes, and you can play with the toes and separate them out. You can hold them there while you're watching TV, while you're talking to somebody on the phone, whatever it is, right? But you want to try to start separating that tissue so that it doesn't just hold your feet in a shape like this. It's not the way we're designed to be. We're designed to have the toes wider than our foot. And now we move into the middle part of the foot. Your toes actually go all the way up. You've got your tarsals that go all the way up here into these larger bones, your navicular. There's a cuboid on the side and some cuneiforms. They look like little rocks. And that form actually the arch of our foot. Arches are very strong. We've got an arch across the front. We've got this arch here. We've got this arch here. It doesn't really matter what kind of an arch you were given, whether your foot's a little stiffer with a higher arch or a little more flexible with a lower arch. We want to just have strong feet with what we were given. Back here is our calcaneus, large heel bone meant to be able to take on load. And if you look at your foot as a tripod, your big toe metatarsal, you've got a second, third, fourth, fifth toe metatarsals that create the front, and then your calcaneus in the back. And then between those feet bones and your two lower leg bones, your tibia and your fibula, you've got a little guy called the talus. And that talus can actually, if it's not in an optimal position, can throw us off line when we're walking. Because it's not attached with soft tissue, I wouldn't say that it floats, but it's between these bones. So that's one of the reasons we want range in the soft tissue, so it doesn't pull bones out of alignment and grind bones and create issues. When it comes to this middle part of the foot, one of the exercises that's really probably my favorite is what we call short foot, where we bring the big toe metatarsal and the heel together, closer together, hold it, and then relax it. Again, something that you can do easily at home. And when you do that, if you put your finger under your arch, you're going to feel the arch of your foot, or your plantar fascia, and all these wonderful, all this tissue under here that really creates a strong arch. You're going to feel it shorten and then relax. And you want your foot to be able to do that and to twist as well, because when we walk and we land not on the back of the heel, that would be heel striking, it's a little brutal, but actually more on the heel calcaneus itself, and we roll through the foot, through the toes, and push off through the big toe, the foot actually goes from being very stiff to actually being flexible, from supination to pronation. And so again, if you're just doing this little exercise and you're twisting your foot and you're just working on the movement of it and noticing where the foot has a difficult time moving, then you'll find the little blurry parts in your movement map that you need to work on. And we've all got them. But if we work on them, we get better at them. So for strong feet. A lovely way to release foot tension is to use a pinky ball under the transverse arch of the foot, allowing the knuckles to pop up. And then you're going to go side to side slowly, feeling the release of that fascia tissue go from the big toe to the heel, and then each toe to the heel like a ray. And then you'll massage the arches by scribbling, whatever way feels great. To release the calf muscles, mainly the gastrocnemius and the soleus, which allow us to point our foot and push off when we're walking, I've got double balls, 2 balls in a small net, and framing both sides of the calves, pressing in, finding a spot, maybe staying on a spot that feels a little tender, and moving the ankle around instead, moving to the outside, moving to the inside. There's many ways to do this. Now, right now with those balls, I have 2 balls that are relatively squishy. And if I wanted a little bit more intensity, I could switch over to a cork peanut. A little bit more intense, also a little larger, so I can cover a little bit more of the muscle and connective tissue, the fascia that wraps around all of our muscles and becomes tendons and ligaments and wraps around the bones. Great stuff to condition these muscles that get used so much. And the calves are very important also as they pump blood back up to our hearts. Tennis ball, a little squishier. Lacrosse ball, a little bit harder. So here we're placing that ball behind the knee and gently pulling that knee in. A little bit more pressure into the tendons for the hamstrings here, but also the ball of the gastrocnemius. If I want a little bit more intensity, can sit back, take a little pressure off with the hands,